Hey guys, I'm LT.
And I'm Dan.
And welcome to BHK Outdoors, your beacon for all things outdoors. So grab a cup of coffee.
Or chaga.
And for the next 30 minutes, let's get out there. Hey, if you have any questions or show ideas for Dan and I, you can email us at radio@bhkoutdoors.com. That is radio@bhkoutdoors.com. Guys, thank you very much for being here today. Dan and I are going to take an opportunity to talk to you about a recent trip that we went on. So we won't have a guest with you here today. Hey, Mikey, I do have one question. That radio@bhkoutdoors.com, have we gotten many responses to that? Yeah? Cool. So, guys, definitely keep on sending the ideas. We love to answer emails. Well, I like answering them. Dan just...
No, I don't like them.
He doesn't like him. So if you do send your emails, I'll gladly read them to him, and I'll type his responses back to you so that you can get it this week. So just if you get the opportunity, guys, you definitely want to do that. We'd love to talk to you about anything outdoors, knives, guns, you name it. We're into all those things.
Well, I don't like the emails because I'm outdoors.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's hard to do the computer thing outdoors.
Yeah, he's still having trouble with the enter button. He's not real sure what that means. So anytime you have a question for Dan, just send it to me and I'll pass it on to him, or Mikey will. We'll get it all taken out. So we're good to go. Hey, I do have another question though, Dan. Weeks and weeks have gone by here and you have been using the word chaga. Okay, I know what coffee is because I drink it just about every day, but what exactly is chaga?
Fungus.
Oh, so you're going to just sit there and we're going to talk and we're going to tell these guys, hey, if you don't really like coffee, I think, just grab a little fungus and go to town on that.
Well, I think everybody should do. Fungus is good.
Is it?
Yes.
How good is it?
That's the best fungus I've ever tasted.
I'll give you that. Well, why don't you give them a little overview of what chaga is and actually where it came from or where you can find it and so on and so forth. And actually why you're kind of turned on to it.
When I was up in Maine, I got introduced to it. Ray Wrightsy had said, hey, you want a cup of fungus? And being the adventurous that I am, sure.
So you're telling me, hey, I got a bowl of crickets. You interested in eating them? You'd have said sure?
Yeah, probably.
Well, there you go.
I mean, I'm game for just about anything. So when he said fungus, I said, sure, I'll give it a go. So anyways, sat down and had a cup of fungus. Got to talking to him about it, what it was, where it came from. It comes off from mostly up there. I think we found it on the birch trees. It's where the tree was injured and the sap started to run out. Mm-hmm. And then the fungus would grow in the sap. And it turns black like I'm going to say like it's been burnt, like a charred piece of wood. And it can grow quite large. And you just harvest those by chopping them off of the tree and cut them up into like 1-inch squares and just steep them over a flame. You don't need to boil them, just steeping them and making a tea out of it. And I guess it has the highest antioxidants of anything on the planet.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. Actually, it does even taste good. I mean,
it doesn't taste
mild
bad.
tea. Yeah, it's not very strong. I don't think it's unpleasant at all. And another option with the chaga that I find real interesting is the fact that you can get an ember in it and carry that ember for quite a while because it has a nice slow burn. Fantastic for tender starting as well.
Oh, it is. So it serves a second purpose after you've brewed it. The cool thing is once you've brewed this chaga, you can brew it again tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after. It just keeps going.
Yeah, it's not like a cup of coffee where you throw your grounds in, then you kind of throw them on your garden afterwards. This piece of chaga, you can at least a week at a time, right? If not more.
Oh, yeah. We've gone more than a week and then maybe only add one piece or something and keep it going.
Fantastic. Well, that cleared that up for me, so I appreciate that. I know we've been getting some questions like, why does he keep talking about this chaga and what is it? So I wanted to clear that up. Guys, Dan and I wanted to talk to you about a recent outing we went. We had the opportunity to go to the National NRA Convention, which was held in St. Louis, Missouri on April 12th through 15th this year. We were very glad to be there. We were there selling our knives and promoting the magazine. and we had an opportunity to meet a lot of fantastic people. It was a nice little day off, kind of took the wives with us, and we enjoyed our time both with our wives and at the NRA show.
Yeah, we certainly did. I mean, it isn't all of the time that we get to take a day off and hang out with the women. So, I mean, that was pretty cool.
Okay, I'll just let Judy know that you thought it was pretty cool, and we'll see how that works out for you. Well, on our downtime after we got set up, we actually got to go up in the arch and look around and see a little bit of St. Louis. And one of the things that we try to do when we go out to these places, we try to go out and not eat at your McDonald's and your Wendy's and things like that. Kind of get a taste of the local flavor. So we're always asking around, like, hey, what's your local specialty? So we ended up at a restaurant and found out that fried ravioli was a St. Louis tradition and also barbecue. So we ended up going to a really good barbecue place the one night, and I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, I did too. I brought some of their sauce home with me, and I still got it.
Yeah. So it was a really good time. If you guys have never been to the national convention that the NRA puts on, it's once a year. Next year, it's going to be held in Houston. If you're a gun owner and if you're an NRA member, or if you're not, I would encourage you to be one for no other reason that it is our right to bear arms. And I think it's a good thing for us to support that. And I don't want to get into a lot of political things. It's just a personal feeling. I've had guns all my life and safely owned and used them hunting. And I think it is something that most outdoors guys, especially if you're into the outdoors and you're listening to this program, chances are you own a firearm of some sort for hunting and camping needs of that sort. Being at this particular location this year, we got to see a lot of the new offerings and a lot of the displays and stuff that were on hand.
Well, yeah, there was quite a few. I mean, they had some amazing displays that took up a lot of real estate. We even saw one that had an upper deck to it. We saw some that where they pulled the whole truck inside and the whole side of it folded out into a porch and all kinds of things. It was awesome to see that stuff.
Oh yeah, it is some sight to see. Well, one of the things that I'm always interested in is, man, those talking words are rough on me today. So is the new offerings from some of the rifle and pistol manufacturers. So I got to check out the new 1022 breakdown rifle from Ruger. And in the process, my wife kind of fell in love with that. Well, I didn't expect them to be out for quite a while. Got the opportunity to stand there and talk to one of the CEOs, sales reps, and speak with him about the whole concept of the rifle and the breakdown and the 22 and the rotary mag. Loved it. Breaks down, goes inside of a backpack. There's places on the backpack to hold other things like a pistol or extra rounds or magazines. The following week, ended up doing a gun show, and lo and behold, they had them for sale, and my wife bought one. So she now has a 1022 breakdown. These things are brand new, and my goodness, what a fine rifle that is.
Yeah, it's an awesome piece. I mean, I'm going to have to get one of them in the future here. I have a 1022, but I'm going to get that one as well.
Yeah, so I think Ruger has some really nice offerings to that we got the chance to look at this particular NRA show. That was just a great thing. There was a lot of manufacturers there of other things. We saw some new versions of pepper spray. For the hunters, there were guys there that were booking guides. I mean, that one bear mount we walked by, geez, how big do you think that bear was?
Well, it had to have been like 12 foot tall.
I mean, this thing was huge. That was a grizzly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. What's the difference between a brown bear and a grizzly?
Grizzly bear will eat you.
Well, what a brown bear won't. So, but some of these guys, I'll tell you what, just to bring the stuff that they brought, I mean, there was a moose head in there. I think the rack was 7 or 8 feet wide on it.
Yeah, did you notice, though, that those antlers, they have it mounted where they can take the antlers off and it just plops down into a square hole?
Well, that makes it easy, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, but could you imagine trying to drag that big old thing through the woods? Jeez, a whiz.
Yes, I can, because I did that a few years ago.
That's a lot of work right there in itself. Oh my goodness. So yeah, there was a lot to see. If you've ever thought about doing some of these larger hunts, I know for us, you just in our area, chances of us going grizzly bear hunting are pretty slim unless you go to one of these guided places or you have some friends that live in the area to where you can do this. So it gives you an opportunity to talk to some of these guides. There were the guys there giving safaris to Africa and a bunch of different things that we got to see in the outfitting side of things.
Well, that's what I like. I mean, you can see just about anything if you go to these shows. A lot of the outdoor expos are the same way. I mean, you at least get to check it out and see how much they're offering and what the prices are and things like that. So,
well, and I think you bring up a good point about going to shows. For the outdoors person like us and the folks listening, supporting your local gun shows and your local knife shows and your outdoor shows when they come to town, I think is a very important thing. As a vendor, it's always nice when Dan and I do attend the shows and we're there as vendors. It gives us the opportunity to interact with people that buy our products. And believe it or not, guys, that the vendors get a lot of good input from the general public. So by you showing up at one of these local shows, and I believe we do have a gun show here in Cambridge from time to time at the Pritchard Laughlin Center.
absolutely.
So I think that's something that if you've not gone out to those things, I think you definitely will want to go out just to see what there is in outdoor stuff and firearms and knives that are available that maybe weren't available a year or 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, if they don't participate in their local gun shows and things like that, if they don't go to the show and maybe spend a little bit of money or at least come in and shop around, then the vendors aren't going to come back. You know, I mean, if they're not going to make any money, they're not going to come back. So, it's up to the public to go in there and participate a little bit if they want that opportunity.
Absolutely. But again, as the general public, when they go in and they get the opportunity to meet some of these vendors that are selling product, believe it or not, that's what I mean. For the vendor, it is priceless meeting people.
Yeah.
It is so nice to get feedback on your product, good or bad, because that allows them to produce, make, or supply you with better product and more in the lines of what you're wanting. So, sometimes we just kind of sit back and maybe we'll buy it from a catalog or we buy it from the internet and never really interact with a person. I think the difference is when you get an opportunity to interact with those vendors at the shows like this, whether it be the NRA Convention, whether it be the local gun shows, just by attending, you're saying, hey, this is something that I'm interested in, but it also is giving direct feedback to that vendor and helping them along to produce that next product. We don't want to ever say settle for what's out there. Tell them what you want. People will listen.
Absolutely. I mean, it's their part to do. So we expect everybody to show up so we can talk to them.
Well, guys, we thank you for being here today, and we're going to get right back and talk to you about more of the NRA Convention. And our producer Mike's telling us it's time for the old commercial break, so we'll be right back. Thank you. Self Reliance Illustrated, teaching our youth and passing on the tribal knowledge, a bi-monthly magazine that you can check out online. They have articles on shelter, water, food, prepping, just general outdoor stuff. What do you think of that one, Dan?
Oh, this thing is awesome. When you look at some of these things in this magazine, you are going to have a ball.
So that's Self Reliance Illustrated. And where can we find it?
www.selfrelianceillustrated.com.
Hey guys, and we're back. Dan and I are here with BHK Outdoors, your beacon for all things outdoors. Hey, thanks for being with us again today. Today we're talking to you about a trip we recently took for the NRA Convention. And Dan, before the break, we were talking about the importance of supporting these type things and local gun shows and different things. What was one of the we spoke about Ruger, which I really like their rifles and their handguns. What was one of your favorite vendors that you remember seeing at the show?
Well, I don't know that it was a vendor, so to speak, but you never know who's going to show up at these things. Mm-hmm. So there was quite a few celebrities there. For one, I got to meet Lee and Tiffany Lukowski, which they have a hunting show on TV, but it was pretty cool to get to talk to them. I've seen them before at shows and stuff, and
I think they've even come to the Jurassic Park thing, haven't they?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people out there know who they are. Mm-hmm. And then I got to meet Tom Knapp, which was pretty cool. And I'm going to say we got some things in the work with him. I don't know how they'll pan out, but it was really fun to meet him and talk to him. And come to find out, I think we might be related.
Oh, well, that'd be quite interesting. Can you shoot like he can?
Absolutely. You should see me
Oh,
go.
I bet I would just see. I think I've seen him actually throw up what 7 or 8 discs before and
Oh,
take them all before they hit the ground.
yeah, I think he's up to more than that.
Yeah, he's an impressive shooter. If you guys haven't seen him do it, he used to be a Benelli shotgun shooter. I think he's shooting CZ now.
Yeah, CZ
Yep.
USA.
So that's quite interesting. You know, one of the other things that was quite refreshing to see when people would come up and talk to Dan and I about the knives, one of the very first things out of their mouth was, "Are these American made?"
Absolutely. And we were glad to tell them that they were.
Yeah, yeah. But one of the things that I think is real important is we can see that mindset that people are looking for American quality made products again. There for a while, we kind of went with that. Chinese is cheaper and more affordable. Let's go ahead and get it. We had that big box store mentality where I think I was really, at this show more than any other, did we get that question, are these made in America?
Absolutely. And I'm getting that question every time I do shows now. So people are willing right now to support American made products. And I think that's a good thing. We need to do that in this country.
Absolutely. I think it is an important turn, and I'm glad to see it. And there was a lot of people that came by and just had a really good time talking to all of them. You know what? One of the other things that I like besides seeing a lot of the rifles was seeing the optics that were available. Just, man, some of the stuff that is out there now is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, it is. They're incredible. Some of the technology today and the improvements in the optics over the years is leaps and bounds above where it was years ago.
Well, besides the optics, we've made a lot of leaps and bounds in the areas of ammunition. And you and I spent a lot of time speaking with one of the representatives from the Nosler Bullet Company. The company's been around for 50 years or more, and man, they make just a fantastic product. And what a bunch of good guys.
Absolutely. Those guys are awesome to talk to because we had a lot of questions about bullets and performance and things like that, and they're more than willing to help us out with any of those questions.
Well, I guess a lot of the guys are probably like us out there. They're into rifles, shotguns, pistols. There comes a time where you get a few different calibers laying around that you get interested in reloading. And I know right now I do reload. My father reloads. My dad actually reloads more than I do, but we do have all the stuff. And I know that you're interested and you're planning on starting your reloading here.
Absolutely. I've got to get going on that. I'm behind on that, but I'm going to catch up.
Well, that was another thing at the NRA convention. Boy, we walked by RCBS. They had the reloaders set up that you could stand there and you could pull them just to see how their rock crusher worked and all the different progressive stuff, and all the reloader manufacturers were there. And I think that's just as important as the other things, as having a fine rifle, as having a performance bullet.
Yeah, and I also think you're going to need to get into reloading too, because the price of ammo, I've seen it going up and up and up at these shows. That's not going to get any better. And I think if there's any way for the government to get after us and control our guns is going to be through the ammo.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what's coming in the future, but I agree. Another nice thing about reloading is if you are a shooter and you're doing a fair amount, sometimes it's not necessarily because it's a cheaper or less expensive cost. You now have a little bit more control over the performance of your firearm because of what you choose to actually put in it as a bullet.
Absolutely. I know, even back as far as when I was shooting competition with a muzzleloader, just being able to play with each round and the powder charge and things like that, you could fine tune that rifle to shoot exactly how you wanted it to and get the best performance possible out of that, choosing the bullet and the powder charge. So, I mean, all of that is important.
Absolutely. Well, other than reloading and the rifles and stuff, there were a lot of the knife companies there. We were there. Blind Horse Knives was there. I remember seeing Cold Steel. Our friends from K-Bar were there. So there are a lot of new offerings, not only in the firearms and ammunition area, but also in the knives. So it was nice, refreshing to see some of the new offerings from our buds.
Yeah, I didn't get around too much to see much of that, but of course I was, about all the people that were there and the booths and things. So wasn't really focused on exactly every detail of what was there, but it's an awesome place to go shopping around.
Absolutely. And every now and then our wives do give us an allowance, and we found this one company that was selling this buffalo wool. I'm just going to call it a way cool hat because that's what it is.
Are you kidding me? Did you see what happened when I bought one?
Yeah, you gave the lady some money.
Yeah, but as soon as I put that on, I look around and there is women everywhere. It's like, wow, this is a chick magnet hat. And as soon as I put that on, they were everywhere. So I thought, well, was it just at that convention? So I wore it the other night to Walmart, and I did the same thing. I went in the grocery department, and with this hat, I look around, there's women everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's like there were 60% women and 40% guys.
You do know your wife may listen to the show.
Yeah, but she knows it's a chick magnet hat. She knows that.
She knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, it was sad because he was walking around saying, guys, I make this hat look good, don't I?
Oh, I do.
He had the largest doggone hat that they make, for the head that he was getting. He so is. Anyway, getting back to the way cool hat. They were way cool. I got one. Dan got one. So we walk into the hotel, and I have the brim on mine pulled up, and we definitely did our Ralph Cramden and, what the heck was his name? Art Carney. What was the character name on The Honeymooners?
Yeah. Now that you put me on the spot, I don't know.
Mike, play the Jeopardy music. Come on, quick. Let's go. Crickets. Okay, anyway,
I don't get
Art
it.
Carney's.
Yeah.
Art Carney's, and I can't off the top of my head. So this lady's looking at
Ralph.
both of us.
No,
That's Ralph Cramden. And we're doing our Art Carney and Jackie Gleason stuff, and this lady just cannot focus. And we're laughing, she's laughing. It was just great. But this is the thing is, our wives allowed us to actually go to this show and buy something, which is a rarity. We came home with a couple way cool hats.
Absolutely.
And they were American made. And I believe the company's over in Pennsylvania, so I had a real fun time with that.
And you will not convince me that it is not a chick magnet hat.
Okay. Well, we'll look into that a little bit later. Hey, guys, we'll be right back with a little more time at the NRA Convention this year. Thank you very much.
Hey, guys, this is Dan from Blind Horse Knives.
And he's here today to tell you about the knife company that we own and how cool it is to be an American-made Ohio knife company. Isn't that what you wanted to say, Dan?
It's something like that.
Okay, so just to save him the trouble, guys, would you just go to blindhorseknives.com and check us out? That's blindhorseknives.com, where you can get an American-made, not only an American-made, but an Ohio-made knife. blindhorseknives.com. Thanks for stopping by.
I hate those words.
Self Reliance Illustrated, teaching our youth and passing on the tribal knowledge. Bi-monthly magazine on all things self-reliant, from prepping to camping to just about anything outdoors. You like this one, Dan?
I do. It's awesome.
Cool. He thinks it's awesome. So check it out at www.selfrelianceillustrated.com. Where can they find it?
That's www.selfrelianceillustrated.com.
Hey guys, thank you, and we're back with BHK Outdoors, your beacon for all things outdoors. This week, Dan and I are telling you about our recent trip to the NRA Convention, trying to get you a little bit excited about those outdoor shows and the gun shows that may come to town. Again, always try to support your local vendors of gun shows. Remember, if you show up to these things, they'll keep bringing them back to town and give us opportunities to get things that are good for our hobbies and such.
I think the biggest thing is the selection, the variety of things that you get at those shows.
It's so different than seeing stuff on the internet or reading in catalog, because you actually get the hands-on.
Well, you're not going to Walmart and get some of this stuff. You just ain't going to do it.
So definitely, if you have the opportunity, guys, go out and support any and all of those. And before I move on too far about the NRA convention, there is a local Friends of the NRA right here in Guernsey County that if you're not a member, you need to look into it. We'll try to get them on as a guest here in the future. We are a supporter of that group. We support them by building some knives for their annual event. So the Friends of the NRA Guernsey County, you want to check it out, and they'd be glad to talk to you about memberships for that. Hey, Dan, getting back to the NRA convention, I know we briefly touched on the celebrities that were there. Who were some of the other guys that kind of come to mind?
Well, Matt Hughes was one of them. I mean, 9 times UFC world champion. stopped by our table and ended up, what did he buy, 2, 3 knives?
He did. He actually, him and his son. Doesn't he have a new show coming out? Or
He does. I'm
something that
not
he's-
100% sure what that is, but he has a new show on hunting, I guess, on the Outdoor Channel or something.
Yeah, really nice guy. His son, a fantastic young man. A pleasure talking to him.
Yeah,
enjoyed
but
talking to him.
I couldn't resist doing the weigh-in thing where you get your fist up and you're staring at each other. And I asked him if he'd do that with me, and he did. It was awesome.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy. Actually, when we were walking around, we got the opportunity to run into Razor Dobbs, who is an African safari hunter. If you guys seen him on, I don't have cable, so I don't get to see his show, sadly, but I see it every now and then, and he does a show about hunting Africa. Really, another good guy. He was gracious enough to talk to us a little bit and pose for pictures, so that was a fun time.
Yeah, so you just never know who you're going to meet when you go to those things.
And one of my heroes from YouTube, Hickok45, if you guys ever get on YouTube, just type in Hickok45. He is a guy who does some gun reviews, and this guy is 6'9". Now I'm 6'3". I make a lot of people look small. This guy made me look like a little fella, man, and he's 6'9". But his reviews on guns are some of the best that I've ever seen. He really takes the time to do it, really in depth, and one of the best open sight shooters I've ever seen. Just unbelievable. So it was a real pleasure meeting him as well. So we had a real good time meeting some of the celebrities that happened to just come by our booth there.
So you make a lot of guys look small? Is that a reference or what?
I can't help it that you're height impaired or impaired.
That's okay.
It's okay. And if you're not real sure how that works, you guys can check out any of our YouTube videos on just go to blindhorseknives.com and I can prove my point right there. I know everyone, I get emails and they say, is Dan standing in a hole? And it's like, no, he's on his tiptoes. So
Keep it up.
That doesn't work out.
Just remember,
real well.
I keep score.
I don't mind. So, yeah, if you get the chance, man, some of the guys that we got to see there at the NRA show, other than just the guns and the knives and different things like that, got to see a lot of the targets that were available, a lot of the new bags for carrying your stuff. That's something that sometimes is overlooked, is how do you get your really cool new thing from place to place?
Stick it in a bag.
Yep, stick it in a bag, figure out the case. We recently both bought us a couple Pelican hard cases made by Pelican Cases that are absolutely top of the line. I can't even imagine having a nicer gun case than these Pelican cases.
No, that's what I used in Iowa hunting, because you have to have your gun in a case if you're traveling around. So, I felt that my weapon was protected the whole time. So it was awesome to put it in that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, we're just about out of time. I want to thank you all for joining us this morning for a cup of coffee and just a nice relax. Remember, hit us at radio@bhkoutdoors.com, and I'll read the emails to Dan, and we'll get back to you on what some of the questions that you might have or some of the show ideas. Thank you all for being here, and remember, when you get an opportunity to go out and support these outdoor shows, the NRA shows, the local gun shows, I think it's a good thing to do, especially for you outdoor guys. You got to buy your guns and ammo somewhere, so let's just work on that.
Or if you need to have a chick magnet hat lesson.
If you need a chick magnet hat. So for the very latest, be sure to like our BHK Outdoors Facebook page, or you can follow us on Twitter. Again, if you have any questions or show ideas for Dan and I, you can email us at radio@bhkoutdoors.com. And we'd like to thank you all for being with us today. Remember to join us right here next Saturday morning for BHK Outdoors, your beacon for all things outdoors. Thanks to our producer, Mikey. And until then, I'm LT.
I'm Dan.
And may God bless all of you.